Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 15, titled Storm. I'm scared by that title. Gardar has brought change, a storm in a man, and Arnheid has made a choice. She's stepped out into the night. What she's actually going to do, I don't know. But I feel like it's going to change everything for our little group of characters on this farm. Today I drew a door being opened, and something dripping out? I don't know. I don't know why I added that in the pen, but I felt the need to. It scares the shit out of me. My mind's eye can imagine it being Arnheid's body, or Gardar's. Or something more metaphorical, like whatever force is animating Svane's head. But it feels like, whatever it is, a door has been opened and something else is outside, out there. The drawing for last episode was looking out through the window. So this episode we're opening the door and maybe moving out through it, or maybe whatever's out there is coming in here. It feels like a progression to me. The homies are all on their way, but there's no indication that we're going to turn our attention to that just yet. Gardar is here, and it is... well, we're going to be deciding what to do with him until Ketil gets home. Unless somebody makes a move. Unless somebody tries to do something now. And then people might be forced to act immediately. But as things stand, I have no idea except my general trepidation and knowledge of the pieces on the board right now. No idea what's going to actually play out. So let's take stock a little bit. Arnheid cares greatly about Gardar, but knows that he is broken and dangerous. Gardar is unhinged, broken, and dangerous. But also pretty much helpless now. Snake is hard on this. There's no softness to him in this instance. But he's not vengeful, and he's not, like, seeking to hurt this person for the thrill of it. It's not his way. The other hands, though, they might be pissed because he killed one of them. But I'm not sure. Einar has complicated emotions about this, and it's unclear exactly where he stands. He almost jumped in to fight alongside Gardar against Snake, right? Thorfinn wants to hold to these just discovered, I guess it's been years now in his mind, but in our story, just discovered ideals that he's found. That, to me, is the most important thing, and the biggest question is whether this circumstance will threaten that in some way. Or provide, like, the kinds of relevant justifications that would make people cross those kinds of internal thresholds, right? If there's something that's important enough to do that it would justify acting in violence, for a lot of people that would justify it. Which would be a perfect test for Thorfinn's resolve to his newfound, over-the-top, almost exaggerated ideal for pacifism. I don't know. But I have this feeling like the situation is alive. And like the characters in it have real agency. It's a strange feeling because it's one that... how do I put it? It's hard to not be poignantly aware that you're in the midst of a story when you're in the midst of a story. It's like, oh yeah, these characters totally have agency, but do they really? No, of course not. They're all serving the purposes of the author, God, the storyteller. It's like watching Princess Tutu and being like, okay, are these characters actually making choices, or is Drosselmeyer making choices for them, or are the people who are animating this making choices for them all? And it's like, well, of course it's all of them. But the feeling, even if it's false, is the thing that's really important. It's like, do I feel like these characters have agency? And I do. I do, because they act so often not knowing other things in the world and not knowing what might be in their best interests and struggling in a very human way to determine what their best interests even are. Like, not only how do I get to my goal, but what the fuck is my goal, and why, and who says so, and do I actually agree with that on the inside, and what does my heart and conscience say about that? And it feels to me like, even when we don't hone in and zoom in and investigate characters really strongly, we've investigated enough of them that this is like an internal struggle that's happening at different degrees inside the minds and hearts of each person that we meet. Like, it's happening to a lesser degree in Snake than it is in Thorfinn, but it's still happening in him. He still has this set of conflicts of like what's worth living for and stuff. It's happening in everyone, and everyone seems to be answering it their own way the best they can, failingly and stutteringly, and that's very real and very human. When we see that even the most successful by the trappings of their times people in this world are torn up on the inside and feel deeply alone and can only confide in a slave girl and like all of these complications. It's just, it makes me want to take a moment to praise the series as a whole again. And recognize in a moment like this, where things feel like they're up in the air, like a door has been opened, that's clear to me. That's why I drew it. But what's coming through that door, like what's changing because it's open, I don't really know. But in this circumstance of unknowns, where those unknowns lie is in the hearts of men and women, right? The hearts of human beings, the hearts of our characters. They get to actually, like, choose, I think. It's such a dumb thing because it's like, well, of course, all stories should be that way, right? But so often they're not. And in this one, they really are. They, like, really are. Able to choose. Able to convince me that I believe that they can choose, right? Because they're just fictional characters. They don't fucking exist. They're not real people. They're cartoons. they're cartoons with cartoon relationships, and I believe in them. Believe. It's the power of this fucking weird medium that we investigate every week, every day, pretty much for me. Okay, I've got my tea. I've said my blathers, I think. I'm excited to see what actually happens next. Here in this darkness, with Gardar, this strange character. I can't think of anyone like him in fiction. It's really strange. Maybe in like Arthurian legend, right? Like, oh, the old suitor comes back and shakes things up. It's so weird. It's so strange, and I love it to pieces. I think it's really cool. Yukimori keeps throwing really interesting elements in the story in ways that I just don't expect, and I like it. I like it a lot. Let's watch the next episode. I've got episode 15, Storm, up and ready to go. There will be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, beep timer to count you down, early access on the Patreon. Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. Love y'all. Let's find out what these characters do next. Beep timer for Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 15. I don't know, P. That's really fun. It's just so fun. I don't know. Hey, buddy. One sec. Oh, she's stepping in, huh? Hi, Arnheid. No. No. Oh, shit. This is very scary. But I don't think any of them will do anything to her because she is so important to Ketil. So he just lies. That's fair. Oh boy. The swing of the water bucket was really cool there. Can't even reach out and touch him. Don't mock them, man. Shit. Mm-mm. It's too late. Yeah. Poor man. Because he still doesn't understand about Hjalti. Our son needs us. Leaving them alone? That really changes the odds. We put the odds like this, and it starts to become possible. We're building to something, maybe. She could have been untying his ropes. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, fuck. Did he get him good enough? Did he get him good enough? I didn't see blood spurting. Yeah, he did. He fucking got him. Alright, Arnheid, take that sword, dude. We're getting out of here. You got no choice now. You got no choice now. Oh shit, don't let him knock into anything. Oh fuck. Boom, boom, boom. He's out. Fuck, now we gotta go. Shit, shit, shit. Arnheid, sword, ropes. You're stuck in it now. Choice made. She didn't want this. She doesn't want this. It doesn't matter what happened. We a team, baby. She's gonna die for this. Oh my god, she's not even moving. Oh my god. She's still gonna die for this, isn't she? Oh, she did cut the ropes? Whoa. And he killed them all? They're out. Whoa. We are the storm. No horses, though. He stabbed Gardar? Okay. Yeah, they're walking. But it's raining. Fuck. Kill him. He's too dangerous. Fuck. We put Snake, a character that we actually like, in the position of being the monster, kind of. They're coming here, right? Like, this is the only place. She's gonna come here and she's gonna beg for help from Anar. The rain stills. That's not good for her. Whoa. Whoa. I wouldn't worry about that. She's got plenty, dude. Plenty and more. Yeah. Yeah. You have a right, Thorfinn. You have as much a right. Maybe more. Shame. Wow. Heikide. Which thing? Oh, that thing. Yes. Yeah. The only kind of person who might have the ideas. Holy shit. Yeah. Yes, but what creates war? Mm-hmm. Okay. It is the gears of progress. It is the way forward. Yeah. Our fundamental ideals are broken. It's trained in. Like Olmar, like, yeah. How do you change something like that? Yeah. Any more of them? The people. The spirits. They're around him always, yeah? Yeah. Always there. Always there. That's awesome. That's awesome. Turn around and do the same. We're gonna get a hell of an image here. It's a real weight. And how do you make it so other people don't take on that burden too? Right, it just stops the thing. How do you move the other direction? You have to save, right? You have to save. Okay, you have to plant more trees than you've torn up. How? This is how the new world ties in. There it is. You make that village that's not winning because someone can come and take it. Right. Right? We're catch-22'd then. We're stuck because we still need swords to protect. Unless there's something else that can protect. Australia. Yeah. So we look for a place beyond the horizon. And we put dreams there. We put our dreams there. Was this a girl from season 1? Is that the family that he stayed with for a little while? I don't remember. Yeah. A land. No power. For the first time, our dream takes form. Boom, boom, boom. If only we could find him. You'd have to gather them, find them. It's a goal that's so far beyond the possible that it's almost worth doing. Yeah, Demo. Hope. Even if it's the fraction of a % of a possibility, the most impossible, it's still hope. And it's placed right up against this. They're not actually here, though. If they are, they just came in and hid at night, but they were awake. He's figured it out. Yeah. This is epic. Fuck. Cold, hard snake. Almost solid. We could... Sorry. Strange episode. I don't know why it feels strange to me, but it does. Torn toward distant lands. Oh. Oh. Wow, we're gonna get involved. We're gonna get really involved, huh? This moment here at the end, Thorfinn stands in between Gardar's body and someone else. That's a change in his line, right? Huh. Okay. Oh boy. Half this episode is philosophy. Half the episode is this one conversation between Einar and Thorfinn. And it stands on its own. I mean, it really stands on its own. It's extraordinary. Really cool. The other half of the episode, a whole lot of stuff happens. There are some really, really beautiful scenes and moments throughout this. The sky above Gardar as he looks up. Beautiful. multiple moments of Arnheid and the light on her, and just some really terrible moments too, but full of emotion. The mistress is getting involved, greedy. I love the foreground objects in the frame, and Arnheid's hair blowing. I don't give a shit. And we set up this circumstance, like what a circumstance we're setting up. This guy, easy to be manipulated. The others, leaving them alone. Oh boy. The show's able to say so much without saying it, as she reaches out and can't touch him. There's so many layers to it. The sun, the betrayal, the feeling like she can't do anything. Fuck. The mockery, man. And his apology is just painful. Because it reflects on her own failures, she thinks. It's too much. It's too much. But I wonder if during this crying is when she's working on his bonds. I'm not sure. I don't actually think she is working on his bonds. I think he is. He's always moving for that next thing, right? He's got a plan. Boom. I don't know how he undid them, but he did. He gets a fucking mouthful and he goes for the right bite. The position that this puts Arnheid in is so interesting to me. It's so stuck. It's so stuck. Like, what can you do? I think it's really clever writing to produce this situation for this character. Now you don't have a choice. It's go with him or die. He chose for you. And that's a lot like the way that things just go, you know? So they're off into the wilderness, off into the darkness. And that's that's it. That's the first chunk of the episode. It's wham from there. Snake finds out and starts the hunt. We get some incredible scenes of darkness. That's gorgeous. The lighting of the fire on the back, the little bit on the hardest parts of his face. Oh, man. Like he's carved out of mossy, lichen-covered granite, you know? He's like an enormous statue looking down in fury. Fucking incredible. But he's been cut again. And then this scene. Again, I think it's just awesome looking. So our boys can't sleep. It's wrong. It's wrong, and yet it's everywhere. And everyone thinks it's right, and we know it's wrong. And yet it's everywhere, and everyone thinks it's right, but we know it's wrong. Yeah. Pick a point in human history, and you can awaken to something along these lines. Like the history of human social progress is the history of people realizing that everything about the way that humans have organized themselves around a particular aspect of life is wrong and deleterious to everyone. Violence and war is one big fucking chunk of that. Slavery is another big chunk of that. And the two are, as we demonstrate here, intricately interrelated. Racial, sexual oppression. Add those in. Over these grand spans of time, these things change and the normal becomes something different. But normal is something that we've constructed. And it's not hard to look out at the normal and see it causing a lot of pain for a lot of people. And what's really crazy about humans is that we're able to accept that. That's just the way it is. Even good. Like it's wrong for freedom to be taken away by violence, and yet that's the rule of the world that these characters live in. It's wrong for someone's life to be taken away for someone else's profit, I think, in the modern day. And yet that is very much the world that we live in. Totally legal, too. Depending on how you do it. And yet it is totally normalized. I think it is wrong for the environment of the future to be destroyed for the profit of the present. And yet it is entirely normal to do so. Accepted. But that's changing. Things can change. And it's people's minds who change them. And that's what we're saying here. But we're saying it from a place that's so relatable and so familiar. Here you are powerless. One person, now two. Two's better. One person with these ideas. The fuck are you gonna do with that? What the fuck are you gonna do with that? Without some ray of hope or some glimmer of a future to push for, it feels futile. But we get an answer. We get a piece of an answer. Is like, do the opposite more. There's an answer. At least for the individual, for the self-contained life. That's an answer that is it's a good one. Plant more wheat than you've trampled. Build more villages than you've burned down. Okay. Now we're on a starting line. We're on a path. Work to create yourself in your own bubble for the people around you, small scale, whatever scale you can create for, work to create. I really like that. I think it's right. But I don't know that it's enough. I don't know that it's enough. And I don't know that grand hope for the future is enough either, because, like, the Vikings come there anyway, right? Like, people bring with them the peopleness. You can't be like, well, we're going to flee our humanity and leave it behind back there, and we'll only take the good parts to this new place, right? And we won't bring violence with us. We won't do it. You can't do that. You can't separate out a piece of the human animal and leave it behind. You bring it with you. You try to create a new society, and it'll evolve in that direction anyway. You can change it. You can modify it, but not from the top down, not like this. Not quite. There's still something there. There's a chance. And yet, how do I put it? We lose here, so we have to go somewhere else where we have a chance at winning. There's a flaw to it, right? It leaves the rest of humanity behind. I don't know. How do we go somewhere new and not take it with us? If Thorfinn is carrying these bodies of the murdered and dead, can he take us into this promised land? Or is this... Is it a near religious situation? I said promised land. And I actually compared Thorfinn to Moses earlier as well, didn't I? Maybe last episode or the one before that, where he's had this awakening moment. He's had this internalized awakening where it's like, inside him he has this set of rules for human behavior that he knows will get you closer to something good. To totally abstract it from religious shit, right? Like, here are these rules for human behavior and they will get you closer to godliness or whatever. I don't care. These will make your life better. You'll be in less trauma and pain and stuff. Okay. He believes these things. But he's still of the previous thing, right? He's still of the before times. He's still tainted and therefore cannot go in. there's maybe something like that. Like the one who shows the way is not the one who can enter the way. Can't actually step beyond the threshold, and that might be the case. It might be the case that Thorfinn can bring the rest of humanity to the door, but can't bring us through. Can't come through himself. I don't know. That's a question for the future, is whether Thorfinn himself can be redeemed. Yeah? Sorry for getting lost in the weeds. It's just like these characters are grappling with the biggest ideas in the most interesting and human ways, where it's so easy to get on the human level track of what's going on in their world. It's like, okay, they literally have to get out of this place to another place. And then you can so easily dive so deep into that. Is like, can a person who's existed in one type of society ever create a new type of society? But I don't know. But you can aim for it. And I think what we say in this episode is that it really takes someone who's seen both. That's what Einar presents, at least. Someone who's seen both to have those kinds of ideas. Because a lot of people don't understand how violent and horrible the war part is, because they've never been in it. And a lot of people haven't had it all taken away from them in the same way. I don't know. Thorfinn does have a deeply unique perspective. One that includes shame, which is interesting that we bring up here. And it has this self-reflection around, how could I not be bothered by this? That I want to touch on for a moment. How could I not be bothered by this in the moment, when it was what I had to do to survive? It was what he had to do to survive. And it was everything that was all around him, right? I don't think at any point during Thorfinn's childhood experiences, with the exception of the family that he stayed with for that little period of time, maybe, I don't think Thorfinn ever had the chance to think or the capacity to choose. He was just in it. Day by day, driven by what he was driven by, vengeance mostly, surrounded by blood and death and told to keep going with the blood and death, and so he can look back on this and question, where was his mind during this? How was his humanity not revolting at this? And it might not have been in the picture. It might have taken a back seat in order to keep him alive. Because we can do that. It doesn't stop existing, but it can get out of the way in order to keep you alive. I think in a very scary way that most of us modern humans never have to deal with, never have to engage with. I think the human conscience is a bit of a luxury. And when times get real tough, it starts to go away. It's like the first thing that goes away. And there are people who can hold on to it in really strange circumstances. And I'm not sure what differentiates those people from those who can't. But I think one aspect of it is stability and reinforcement. Right? So like a well-developed conscience that's been thought about and incorporated really well. Then you put that person in a really difficult circumstance. I think they're more likely to be the kind of person who doesn't turn on their ideals, who is unwilling to make those moves. But I think without that, like, really strong effort toward it, toward a thing that, like, people aren't going to teach you, except within the bounds of parenthood, maybe. Without that strong, built-up, conscious conscience, it's an unnecessary barrier between you and survival, right? Like, you're starving, Jimmy down the street has food, you're not going to break into his house because it's wrong? Because it's wrong, really? No. It's not how it's going to work, right? You're going to not break into his house because he has a gun and he'll shoot you. That'll stop you. But the conscience part? Unlikely. And same as, like, you're on a battlefield, everybody's trying to murder you, here's a knife. Enjoy arguing between your conscience and your survival. Survival wins out. And then it wins out again and again and again and again, and we like, Thorfinn didn't descend directly into being a murder monster. It took a little bit of pushing, right? A little bit of horror, a little bit of vengeance, a little bit of taking away everything that he cares about. How was I not bothered by hurting all these people? What else did you have, man? That's the way, right? Like, you were told that that's the right thing to be doing. And yet it's strange to imagine that you were like that before. So, do you really want to eliminate warfare and slavery? For the first time, Einar's eyes really glint, steel and cold, and wanting that. It's in the wake of the day after Gardar, right? We're seeing what it really does to people again. Like, we're poignantly aware of what this shit does to people, but we're seeing it again. And it's making Einar think, what can we actually do? And I feel so strongly aligned with this over the last couple of days. In particular, the last couple of days. It's so strange to me. I've been bursting. I've been like, it's like, it's internal, emotional, real turmoil, and I don't want to exaggerate, but it's a kind of agony. It's so strange because it happened, like, somebody referenced a piece of media that I care about, and it left me weeping a couple nights ago. Just a reference to an emotional moment in Critical Role, of all things, right? And it just made me think about the impact that these people have had playing this game, the stories that they've told, the impact that they've had on my life and others, and how little I've done in comparison. And then that thinking turns my attention toward the broader struggles of our population, of our people becoming less and less connected, of the loss of care, it seems to me, of the new wave of growing violent rhetoric and the world turning into what it's turning into, whatever that ends up being. And feeling a familiar feeling that I've been able to keep at bay for a long time. A feeling of not doing enough about it. Of wanting to fight in a more serious way. Of wanting to change things and have an impact. And yet, being stuck with how genuinely pathetic I find most people my age trying to make an impact. Trying to create their art or say something or rally political progress or Whether it's writing or social media or video, it all seems so small and so pathetic to me. And I recognize that that's a little bit dickish. Because on the other hand, there is immense collective value in the works of individuals. And if I didn't believe in that, then like, what the fuck am I doing here? But there's this tension and this desire in me to step beyond that. Step beyond the layer of what's normally achievable by an individual in terms of political progress and change. Right? And I don't have a route for it. I feel a lot like Einar and Thorfinn here, as he sits there and he goes, this thing is wrong, and it should not be this way, and I have no idea how to change it. You know? Because a lot of the ways that people go about trying to change things in modernity don't fucking work. Or they lead to much worse things than there were before. Take violence, for example. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to reference it. For those who don't know, it's September 19th, 2025. Look up violence this week in history. You'll understand. Whatever the motivations of the people doing the violence, and whatever the fuck you think of the person who was violenced against, I don't think it's fucking helping anything. So that isn't a way forward, is it? Violencing on a bigger scale isn't a way forward either. Screaming about anti-violencing isn't doing it. And there's no other world to go to, you know? And even if there were, my concerns about taking that with you hold true too. Yeah? One of my favorite sci-fi books ever is Kim Stanley Robinson's Mars trilogy. Blue Mars, Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars. That might be in a different order. It's about inhabiting and terraforming Mars. Really interesting series. Great hard sci-fi. All the people who go to Mars are fucking cool scientists, and they plan to create an amazing, super utopian society and everything. It takes like 50 years for them to be completely at war with Earth, and it's all the same shit all over again. We found our paradise beyond the horizon, and then we made it another fucking trash heap. Good for us. So how do we change the fundamental thing about humans that makes our spaces trash heaps? How do we change the fundamental thing about people that makes us want to kill each other and take each other's wives and children and make them slaves? So that we can have more land, so that the next person who comes along can kill us, take our wives and children, and make them slaves. How do we change that? How do we alter the part that makes us hate each other? How do we alter the part that makes us think that the other person over there isn't a person? I don't know. How do we get rid of war and slavery? I don't know. Because there are kids that are slaves today. And there are young men in trenches today. And instead of hiding from horsemen with swords, they're hiding from drones with grenades. And it's the same shit. For power and for hatred, on a national level, on a geopolitical group level, on a familial farm level, and on an individual make a name for yourself level, and on a fucking I have no choice, I'm stuck in this situation, I have to kill in order to live, and so I will, and my conscience will be delayed indefinitely. It'll catch up to me when I'm out of this hellhole level. How do we get rid of war and slavery? I don't know, Einar. I wish that this line was followed with an answer. I wish it was followed with an answer. Thorfinn's answer is that war creates slavery, so we start there. But how do you start there when it's everything to everyone? When war is the language of the people. When war is the sound of power. It's always been our way of life. How do you change that? And Einar hones in on it. You're patient zero of whatever the antidote is. Right? You're patient zero, Thorfinn, but Thorfinn's in a particular spot, right? He's experienced it all. He's been on the battlefield enough to be broken by it. And that's not a sustainable solution, right? Like, we can't do that to everyone. They just end up on the battlefield. You can do that in peacetime. To some extent. But I don't think traumatizing your population is a very good, sorry, to be clear, what I'm talking about is mandatory draft nations like South Korea. There's a thought in my mind that, like, the universalization of military training and exposure to it might have some like, effect on preventing conflict, but maybe that doesn't actually line up. I don't know. We can't make everyone like Thorfinn. Is it really that strange? Yeah. Yes, it is. In this society, cowards can't survive. And you don't even have to be a coward, right? Cowardice is about fear and stuff. But just an unwillingness to fight is cowardice in this society. Our definitions are so wrapped around this. Like, cowardice is an unwillingness to fight is cowardice, is evil, is wrongness, is definitionally bad. This reminds me immensely of the origins of ideas of goodness. In literal nobility. The gentle traits, the traits of gentle people, noble people, goodness, are codified over time. This is a theory, at least. I don't know exactly how 100% true this is. Codified over time and contrasted with the traits of the lower classes. And we put the other ones on high. Right? And over time, morality actually shapes the class structure. So the things that differentiate noble people from the ignoble and less noble people start to be raised up as virtues and looked upon as universal human virtues. Not the virtues of the nobility, but universal human virtues. Like, this is not a real example, I'm making a fake example, but say nobles have access to soap and poor people don't. Nobles are able to clean themselves. Cleanliness becomes associated with the nobility, and uncleanliness becomes associated with poverty. Give that a little bit of time, and it is good, like morally good, to be clean. And it is a moral failing to be dirty. And that actually evolved out of class access to those things. The same will happen to foodstuffs, right? Like, these are good foods and they're clean foods because the nobles can eat them. And these are bad and gross and dirty foods, even if they're actually, like, really healthy and good for you. By the definitions of our society, Pacifism equals cowardice equals opposite of good. Right? It is weakness. It is flaw. It is failure. It is sin. Because the god of the Norse is war. Oh. Just put that together in my mind. It's not actually true. Norse have a full pantheon, but in terms of what they actually pursue and care about, that's pretty right on. They worship blood. So anything that's against that is heresy. That's really what the framework is, isn't it? Less than the nobility thing, it's the framework that that's their god. That's the attitude that they have when anyone talks about it the other way. That's the attitude that Thorgil has, too. It's like, he is righteous, a righteous servant of his god. And he is thrilled to worship anytime he can. And to spill blood in his name. Yeah, skulls for the Skull Throne. So this is a fucking awesome scene. I can't be in this society. Fine. I can't carry any more of them. And they rise up in reality to meet him here. They're here. They're here. And he phrases it a completely different phrasing. Because mostly in this world, after the rage and hatred you felt at your father's murder, how could you do other than go and kill? That's what you're supposed to do. He's had a change. How could you kill so many other fathers? Yeah. I must atone. I must carry them to a place where they can rest in peace. And I can't take any more. Not one. He centers himself. What can I do to make it up to them? It's not enough to stop. That doesn't balance the scales. So he's created this weighing of justice, this end-time judgment for himself. In abstract, like, as far as we know, without exposure to Christian judgment ideas. Which is really interesting, I think. He wants to balance the scales, and the way that he wants to balance the scales has... First off, it is separate from Christian judgment ideals, and second, it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the supernatural at all. There's no indication of a karmic universal that we're working toward changing, or a judging creature, or anything like that. Nor even in the context of the word atonement, I don't get the feeling like it's presented as like atoning to something, to some entity. Thorfinn's perspective is a humanist, worldly perspective, as it's presented here. Here on Earth, raise more grain than trampled. Not to balance some cosmic scale, but to change this world. The real world. And it limits the scale. Right? It's not about making sure that everyone else stops trampling grain forever. It's not worrying about that. That's outside of your control. And that's really important, isn't it? Because that's the part that overwhelms me when I think about it. It's the part that's overwhelming when Einar sits there and pushes against this idea and is just sitting there stoic and thinking, like, how do we change this? It's like an immutable part of reality around us. It's hard to even grapple with the concept of it being different. So we ignore it. We focus on the small, the tiny. You step on a plant, plant two plants. Plant 1.0001 plants. You cut down a tree, plant 2 trees. You kill a man? How do you plant 2 men? I don't know. But it's a start. And he acknowledges that. I still don't know how to eliminate war from the entire world. That's right. But as long as I can do this one little thing, that would do. A place that has no need for swords. And A&R recognizes the flaw in this, unfortunately. How would you defend that land? And we're right back to our core question of the show. Here you are, you've created paradise, it's far away from everything else. Your family's happy, you've got fields of golden grain. And Canute and all his soldiers are coming across the waves. The fuck are you gonna do about it, man? Pay tribute? He doesn't care, he wants it. We eliminate Canutes from the world? How? Canute wants to build this paradise too. Kill everyone who disagrees. Make it all under one banner. Create peaceful paradise that way. Plant new grain right where you've trampled the old. Plant a new people where the old were. Feed the fields with their blood. And then forget. And build a world without that turmoil in the first place. When does it end? When do the borders of that stop expanding? When is that enough for the people inside? It doesn't work. And so here we are at the core question. Like, how do you defend that land? The Vikings come. Sometimes you have to fight. Sometimes you have to fight, but it won't work. It's meaningless to wage war for peace. It doesn't work. It just brings you deeper into the hell. It lets you justify it, but it doesn't change it. So the dream stays a dream, and impossibility stays impossible. The environment elements are beautiful. The clouds rolling by and the glimmers of sunlight through are beautiful. That this storm that's so terrible gives way to these beautiful rays of light and this little bit of hope. It's very interesting. All the way across the sea. A vision, a memory, a chance. And we sweep across the waves. And for the first time in the episode, there's bright color, really. The sun is out in their minds and out in reality as well. Yes, I've heard about it. An untouched land. It's not everything. Still no idea how we'd make any of it happen. But it's something. Hope cuts through the clouds. And then terror follows. And death comes. They're both going to die for this. They're both going to die for this. Poor Arnheid. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Vinland Saga. I continue to struggle with the big scale ideas of this show in a way that I value greatly. Hope you're valuing the sort of chugging along through it. I don't know. I don't know how to answer the questions that this show brings up, but I'm really grateful that it brings them up. Because this is the kind of space that I really enjoy thinking in, even if it brings me turmoil and is hard. I want to exist in spaces that are difficult. And at the same time, I want to exist in spaces that are simple and cute and fun, because that's a part of it, right? It's like living life. But thinking about what to do next in a big way is something that shows like this really give me, and I'm really grateful for it. So I'm grateful for you coming along with me. I hope you've enjoyed the episode and my reaction to it, and I'll catch you next week for the next episode of Vinland Saga, where things will, I'm sure, continue to get more interesting. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week for more, or early if you catch it early on the Patreon. Much love. Peace.